to Panel Talk. It's your host, Jordan. And today we have a special guest, Bennett. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, let's see. I'm a 21-year-old puppeteer from Brooklyn, New York. I work on Sesame Street. I work on Don Quixote, which is a new kid show on PBS. I do other things. I draw, play music,
Oh, cool. So you got into the entertainment industry pretty young, am I correct?
Yeah, pretty young. I was 10 when I started working. Well, not working, but I was 10 when I got involved in the Muppet community and making puppets at 10.
Sounds pretty cool. It's pretty fun, being at that age. It must have been overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, at the time, no. It was like, oh, hey, I want to do this. Now I'm here. When I was 16 and started actually doing it for work, then it was like, whoa, this is interesting. I adjust my, my outlook on everything.
Oh. So how did you discover puppets?
I suppose for everybody in the world was born after the 60s, everybody knows Sesame Street and the Muppets. And so they're kind of always devoted around. And for me especially, I guess my parents were the first generation of Sesame Street watchers. So they Muppets. So our family kind of always just had the Muppets in the household.
Who doesn't like the Muppets? So hard not to like them.
Yeah. Cal, I actually have a question for you. It's a little unique. I just want to know, because as a puppeteer, you have to be in really certain positions, to make the puppet move and talk. So do you ever have to go to a chiropractor or something because you have to be in all these different positions?
Right now I have the advantage of young and relatively small, so I can do those things without it being a problem. And I do get achy sometimes, but I stretch a lot.
That's good.
Stretch a lot. Yeah, it's kind of an important thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Emily. I actually have a question. You mentioned that you got your start in the entertainment industry at the age of 10. I'm actually curious to know exactly what that was. Was it puppeteering specifically, or were you an actor, or?
Yeah, puppeteering. Let's see. I making puppets since I was 10. Just because I always wanted to understand how the Muppets worked and how those types of puppets were made and performed. So when I was 10, I was living in Georgia at the time, and over there's the Center of Puppetry Arts, and at that place there's exhibits and shows and stuff. And one of the shows was being done by Leslie Carrara Rudolph, who plays Abby Cadabby on Sesame Street. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to meet her because she works for the Muppets, and I wanted to get meet somebody that works for the Muppets. And I brought this awful Ernie puppet that I made Sesame Street, and I was in the front row of the show and reacting to the show as myself, but also reacting independently as Ernie. And she was I guess noticing that pretty early on throughout the show, and afterwards she kind of wanted to get in contact with me and my parents, and because I was a kid, but she was, I guess, impressed, which was pretty flattering. And so from there, she was, at the same time, Kevin Clash, who played Elmo at the time, he was doing a documentary about his career and his life, and they needed somebody to bring the story kind of full circle. And luckily, Leslie had just met me, and she told me about me. And from there, it kind of just evolved,
That's so cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we actually saw. Yeah. I'm not sure, Emily and Jordan, if you saw
I did.
The video. Yeah, we watched the 10-minute video of you on YouTube called I forget what it was called.
Oh, the thing that my dad filmed.
Yes. So we know a little bit about your background and how you met Leslie Carrara Rudolph, and your how you got into it. And I remember from that video, you mentioned that you began working at Sesame Street at just 16.
That was when like actually paying me to work there.
Oh my gosh. So I just want to know, was it like intimidating at all to work with these professional puppeteers on Sesame Street, which, such like everyone knows Sesame Street? Was it intimidating, or did you just ease right into it? Was it just natural?
The work was relatively easy because it's stuff that I've been training myself for all my life.
Right.
But I think certain aspects of it were not intimidating because they were, they're all adults. They're not like trying to mess with just, they're doing their job. And they wanted to support me because, I'm part of this thing that is, bigger than all of us, and it's all very important to us. So they wanted to support me. And I knew that going in, but I also knew how important the work was. So maybe I probably was, or I made myself because of just knowing I was over analyzing what everything was, and I still kind of do sometimes.
Wow, that's really cool.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I think
So what was it like being on the set of Sesame Street for the first time?
For the first time, when I was 11, I was there. Kevin brought me onto the set as just like a kid on the show, just to be in the background, and but for me, it was for me to see how the show worked, while also getting to be on it. It was pretty cool. I mean, as a kid, I didn't necessarily understand all the aspects of it. Like a lot of things, on a TV set, things are very slow. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. But I knew what the job was. I knew the puppeteers, how they worked and stuff. And I got to meet, some of my favorite people on the show. I got to meet Bob and Gina and, Barkley and Elmo. It was pretty cool. It was a nice time. Grover, he was there. Yeah. Nice.
That's awesome. So how did you come up with the different voices for your characters?
Well, it depends on how the character looks. I wish I had a puppet next to me to show you. My puppet's on the other side of the room. But if the character looks kind of, do you mind if I grab a puppet and show you?
Oh my gosh.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Do you like listening to stuff? Well, you should listen to Panel Talk.
Hey, new episodes every Monday.
This podcast is brought to you by Audible. Just kidding, nobody is sponsoring us.
Okay. I would have been here sooner, but I really enjoyed hearing your sponsors. So I brought a couple of puppets. So this guy, he's just hey, he's supposed to be like a sleazy salesman, guys.
I can tell by the mustache.
Yeah. So, hi there. My name is Stanley Sleaze, and I sound like a sleazy salesman, as you would assume I would sound like. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, Stanley. Can we ask you a few questions?
Sure, whatever you want. Well, yes, of course.
So what got you into sales?
The money.
That's a pretty good reason.
Yes, it's clear cut. I like money. I like having it. I want to have money. So whatever I have to sell you, you're gonna buy it because I'm persuasive. And I also have it.
Wow.
So if a character.
Now, I'm looking to buy a new car. Is there any way you can help me with that? I feel like you're a very trustworthy car salesman.
A new car? Well, I can sell you a car, and it might behoove you to not make such assumptions, but I can sell you a car.
Awesome.
All you need to know.
Okay,
As far
good
as you're
enough.
concerned, I can sell you a car. Yeah.
It was great to meet you, Stanley.
Great to meet you too, and I'm off to make more sales. And sometimes a character might look different and a different type of voice.
Oh.
How are you? Hi, how's it going?
Oh.
What's your name?
What's my name?
Mm-hmm.
Jorge.
Oh.
Ooh.
Hi, Jorge.
Hi. What's your name? Kayla.
I'm Kayla.
Hi. I was
Hi,
reading.
I'm Jordan.
You're Jordan.
Hello, I'm Emily.
Emily. Nice to meet all of you. Hi. Zoom is cool.
Have you never been on Zoom before?
Not once.
It's very confusing, but you'll get used to it.
Oh, I hope to. I hope to do it. Because right now, I'm looking at all these boxes, people in the boxes, and I'm in a box right now. But on this side, I'm not in the box. Are you guys actually not in boxes?
No, we're not in boxes.
I'd probably be freaking out if I was.
I'm sure you would. I would too. Okay. Oh, that's a relief. I'm going to go away now.
Okay.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Bye. Nice to meet you too. Bye.
So yeah, puppets. It's based on the design and like the idea that you have when you create them. The voice comes from that.
Now, did you make those puppets yourself?
I did.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Thank you.
How long on average does it take you to make a puppet?
It depends on the size and what I want it to do. Some puppets have like mechanisms that I want to add and make them do things that most puppets can't do. Other puppets are a lot more simple. Jorge was like, I think I spent a week making him. Stanley Slee's probably multiple weeks, like maybe a month or so.
Wow.
But also it depends on what I'm doing outside of the building process. I might just be messing around, not doing anything for a while.
So how do you come up with them? Like, do you have a process?
Mm-hmm. I have a sketchbook, and I draw them up in the sketchbook, and then I make them.
Yeah.
The ideas come from different things, maybe a name, if I have a funny idea for a name, or if I heard a song. Usually it comes from music, or not usually, but often it comes from music. I'll hear something and I'll think, oh, that'd be an interesting character, or I don't know, different reasons, different things.
It's pretty cool. I've always loved music, and it's always fun to know. I like how so much emotions in music, and I like how you channel that into characters.
Thanks. Yeah, it's for me at least, it's one of the easier ways to come up with characters.
Do you find that the voice comes like before the actual design, or is it the other way around? Do you see it like a character design and then you assign a voice to it, or is it like a parallel thing?
It always varies. I mean, I like the puppet first, and then I'll come up with a voice, which is kind of difficult to do that because I have so many puppets. I've done most of the voices that I think I can do, but then one day I'm like messing around out and about making a funny voice, and maybe I haven't used it yet. So I'll later on come up with a character that the voice can be used for.
So cool. Do you have any inspirations that you have?
Inspirations in terms of like puppet design or
just wherever, like whenever, like the creative fields?
A lot. Yeah, I've got quite a few inspirations. Drawing. I like to look at the work of Ralph Bakshi. He did a lot of animations in like the 60s, 70s.
Hey.
Yeah, Ralph.
Yeah, gonna make a Fritz the cat puppet?
Yeah,
probably not.
I mean, if the price is right, I will. Designs, Ralph Bakshi and people like that, or musically, I like to listen to Frank Zappa. I think Frank Zappa actually informs a lot of my puppets, even if it's not like a music related puppet. It just maybe he has a lot of funny phrases in his, like Susie Cream Cheese is one of his songs, and maybe I'll make a character like that. It's about Susie Cream Cheese. I don't know.
I want to circle back a little bit to when you were talking about making puppets. So in the movie Being Elmo, they mentioned the Jim Henson Stitch, and I'm just curious to know what that is exactly.
The Henson Stitch is like it's a ladder stitch. It's just like you start from. Let me see if I can show you. You can see like there's a there's a seam down the middle of Stanley's jaw here, and it's kind of invisible unless I'm showing it to you. But if you're just looking at Stanley, you don't necessarily see his seams. But so the Henson stitch is just a seam that like is a stitch that allows for seams to be made invisible. It's the two pieces of this leaf, and you go in on one side, go in on the other side, go in again on the other side, and then pull it.
I've heard of that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
It's just a ladder stitch, you know.
And you know what? Because I don't even think when you were working for or you still work for Sesame Street, right?
Yeah.
So what characters do you play? Like, what characters have you played or do you play?
Recently, in the last year, as a result of the Black Lives Matter movement that's become more and more prominent in the last year, they've developed some like Black Muppet characters.
Oh,
and
I saw that.
Yeah. So I play Tamir, the Black Muppet from 2020.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I saw the clip with Elmo and those two Muppets.
There's another couple of Black Muppets named Wes and Elijah. So there's a couple of Black Muppets they're trying to create.
That's good.
That's awesome.
I like how they introduce topics like race and all other hard topics to cover with children, and they make it digestible for children.
Yeah, I think they're doing a pretty good job of that.
Sesame Street has always just been so good at that, no matter what the topic is. Like they never dumbed it down for children. They were very frank about it, but they were also very, at the same time, very gentle and informative. And I think that's really commendable.
Yeah, they're really good at knowing how to do that.
So you were doing a puppet workshop in Temo and Kids Comic Con 3 years ago. How was that? Did you have fun?
I did have fun. I had a friend of mine who also works on some of my work with me. He was there helping out, and we both had a good time. The kids seemed they were into it.
That's good. That's cool. Kids love puppets. Who doesn't?
Both love puppets too. I mean,
yeah.
Cal, I also remember from the 10-minute video on YouTube that Dad filmed, you mentioned that you you wrote, and I believe you filmed also your own comedy sketch with puppets.
Yeah.
And so I just want to know, how did that happen? How did you get that to happen? How did you begin that process of actually being able to film it yourself? A
lot of literal blood, sweat, and tears went into that project.
Yeah.
It was called Cold Sober, and it's still on YouTube. And it's sort of my passion project. At least it was at the time. I guess it still is, but I haven't been able to do much with it recently. But the premise was it was a sketch comedy show about. At the time, I didn't know what it was about until now that it's done. It's about not taking life too seriously, not letting life mess with you in a way that is that ruins or sullies your outlook on the world. Instead, take everything with a grain of salt, because everything that your life, a lifespan is just one small sliver of what is. And
yeah.
Don't let it hurt you. Just kind of look at it with some humor.
Yeah, you can't let every single thing get you down. I have trouble with that sometimes, but you always seem to make it out just right when you think about it that way.
Yeah, it's positivity, I guess.
And the arts definitely help with that.
For
hearing and creativity in general.
Yeah, expression.
Exactly.
That's really all part of our show.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it was difficult but fun. It was a good time. We spent 3 days filming it. We spent 2 days prior to filming making the set, and after the initial shoot, we had extra days of filming and getting all the pickups and stuff. And it was a long process of editing and looked okay.
Wow. So who's we? Because I saw in the video it seemed like you had some pretty like professional equipment to film. So I'm just curious, like, you already had that stuff, or did you just like know people? I don't know. Like, just I'm curious about that process of how you were able to like make this high tech show. It seemed like, at least.
Thank you. I'm glad it came across that way. Like the group of us, it was just a bunch of 8, I think, puppeteers. And kind of all just did it ourselves. The equipment was it came from a public access station that my mom actually was taking classes at.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called Brick. I don't know if you've heard of Brick Media.
It sounds familiar, but I think
Facility in Brooklyn, and they if you're taking classes there, it's easier for you to have access to their equipment. I'm not like certified in any of the brick stuff, so my mom had to be there all the time. It was kind of annoying, but because she was the one that had access, she was the one that was like, certified in like producing stuff there. So we were able to get it through her.
That's awesome. That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then there was one day of Ellis, and that was at the Henson Carriage House, which is where the Muppets have done, some projects in the past. It's just a little space where I think you have to supply your own camera. So we had the guy bring his camera, and they have the lights and just the space, and we made do with it. It was pretty good.
So I know on Sesame Street there's a lot of guest celebrities. Are there any celebrities that you've been like starstruck to see?
Well, I met Keegan-Michael Key, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I met Patton Oswalt, Tiffany Haddish. Well, I didn't.
Oh, cool.
Room with her.
Oh.
I don't know. A lot of people have come through. Michael Che.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are all pretty funny and cool people.
Yeah. Good time. Starstruck, I don't know. I try not to get tongue-tied. I mean, I already do get tongue-tied a lot just by not being starstruck. Yeah, I don't know. I guess all those people were pretty
Yeah. That's so cool. Tiffany Haddish, I'm jealous. Like, she seems so fun.
Yeah, she was.
So have you faced any challenges throughout your career, and how have you overcome them?
Challenges like what?
Like speed bumps, like road bumps, like like mental blocks, like creatively.
I think everything that I do is a challenge. Like Cold Sober, for example, was probably one of the biggest challenges because it was just us. Like I said, it was just 8 puppeteers, and we pretty much made the whole thing ourselves. We built the set ourselves. In fact, the reason why we had to build the set was because we had somebody who was going to set for us while we could focus on rehearsing and getting the characters together. But that person kind of didn't do it right. So we ended up just having to do it all ourselves at the last minute. That was a pretty big challenge. And we were all like pretty much living in this 2-bedroom apartment together for a week. That was a challenge. What else? On Sesame, there's always challenges, just generally like, you wanting to be a part of Sesame Street since I was a little kid. And then you finally get here and, there are things about it, like the way things change over time. It's not quite the same as what I had hoped for when I was a kid. All that stuff is in the past, I've heard people on set say, Tao, where were you in the 90s? Unfortunately, I wasn't alive. So, knowing what you kind of missed, that's kind of a challenge too.
It's pretty funny.
Did you ever lack support, as a challenge, like from your friends or family? Was that ever a challenge for you?
No, actually, the support is the thing that kept me going. Because even in school, like when I was in middle school and high school, there were moments where like I probably felt like, it wasn't going to be easy, like seeing other people, what they were doing. knowing that I was doing something different. That was, I guess, kind of difficult, but it never like stopped me because my parents were pretty supportive and my family always helped me out. And I always had friends who like understood what I was doing and wanted to be part of it, because once I started doing it, they were like, "Oh, this looks pretty cool." Like I have videos on YouTube that like it's just me and my neighborhood friends doing puppets, and it's fun regardless of if they're puppeteers or not. They had fun helping me out making this art, and it is art,
Yeah.
So knowing,
It is.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you got support.
Yeah, not everybody has that.
Exactly. So good for you.
So would you like to, so we always close up our interviews with asking our guests the question, what would you like to say to the viewers out there? Well, listeners, but you get the point.
Yeah. What would I like to say to them? That's such a difficult question. There's so much to say. I guess whether you're an artist or whatever it is that you do, if it's what you truly want to do, if it's something that you can see making you happy in life, just stay focused and always try to find ways to do whatever it is you seek to do. Even if there's immediate challenges, just look at each challenge like an individual step. Past that step, then you're on the move. I guess, is that sufficient?
That is a great advice.
Cool.
Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Chow. It's been great. You're so cool, I have to say.
Thanks.